All right, good afternoon, honorable members. I hope you all had a good lunch, and let's get on with the rest of the day's work. I now put the vote 16, basic education, and I've been informed that the following parties would like to make declarations of votes in terms of Rule 78. I call upon the DA, Honorable J.M. Adrianza. Honorable member.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Today I would like to speak on the critical importance of our basic education budget vote. This budget is not merely a financial plan, it's a cornerstone of our nation's future. By investing in quality basic education, we empower our youth, reduce inequality, and foster economic growth for generations to come. Our focus must be on enhancing infrastructure. No more pit toilets. Ensuring the safety of both teachers and learners as violence at school hinders performance. And providing comprehensive teacher training and learner support to guarantee a world-class education for every child of this country. We must bridge the gap between urban and rural schools, ensuring equitable resources for all. As far as early childhood development, skillfully trained teachers must be deployed for this critical phase of learning. Accountability and transparency in spending are paramount to maximize the impact of every rand allocated. Let us commit to this budget, not just as a fiscal responsibility, but as a profound investment in our nation's prosperity. Together, we can build a brighter, educated future for all South Africans. The Democratic Alliance supports this budget.
Thank you. I now call upon the EFF, the Honorable NN Chirwa Mpongose.
Yes, board. EPF,
Thank you. Chairperson, we acknowledge and note that the department is struggling, is having a challenge under the GNU government to devise solutions to save and to rescue the collapsed Department of Basic Education. So today we're going to present to you some of the many solutions that we've brought to this House on how to rescue the collapsed Department of Basic Education. The department must train an additional 40,000 ECD practitioners, with nothing less than 50% of them being women and young people. They must permanently employ all these ECD practitioners and have them operate on a full-time basis. We say this because we propose that early childhood development must be made compulsory from the age of 3 years old. Children must be familiar with the environment of learning, and there must be medical interventions in place, like occupational therapy that is accessible from an early age, so that there's optimal impact and timely intervention where the needs be. The department must achieve universal coverage of technology with speed and intentionality. It must ensure that no school in rural townships and informal settlements are left behind in this regard. We have grown tired to see immediate interventions in basic education where elite schools are concerned, but snail pace when it has to do with those in townships, rural areas, informal settlements, and where the poor reside. The department must compile a registry of decaying infrastructure of schools across the country in all provinces and revitalize our schools with speed. This department promised Durban Deep Primary and Roodepoort that a new school would be built by 2023. It still has not happened. Our children at this school don't have ablution facilities. They study with one hand holding a book and the other hand holding the broken chair they're sitting on. This contends with their assertiveness during learning and thus works against their optimal performance in class and essentially is a barrier to their right to education. As from tomorrow, Chairperson, 32,000 young people in Gauteng will be without jobs. These are the same people that President Cyril Ramaphosa spoke about, claiming to have created jobs for thousands and thousands of teachers' assistants. These are the same people that the Premier Panyaza Lesufi paraded in front of cameras, claiming to have created jobs for them. And 2 weeks later, after all those media crusades, these young people will be unemployed as from tomorrow. We demand that the Department of Basic Education must renew their contracts with immediate effect and permanently absorb them. We will no longer allow you to mislead the nation while you destroy young people with fake jobs that are unsustainable. Lastly, establish specialized autism schools that are fully equipped with tailored educational resources and trained staff to provide inclusive and adequate educational support and material to children on the spectrum. Autistic children deserve quality education and they deserve support. And you have not been able to provide this, more especially in poor and district communities. We reject the budget vote because it doesn't respond to the needs of our people and the primary challenges of this department.
Honorable Member. Please take your seat. I now call upon the MK Party, Honorable ZN Nobo.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, we as the MK Party strongly object to the proposed budget for basic education. Today, MK Party outlined the concerns, starting with the most critical issue. There's an inadequate funding for teacher training and development. This is the foundation of quality education, and it's essentially we address it first. In the teacher training and development, the budget's failure to prioritize teacher training will lead to a decline in educational standards. We must invest in our teachers to ensure they are equipped to provide the best possible education. To reclaim our dignity as a people, we as MK will establish indigenous languages as mandatory official languages taught in schools from grade 0 to grade 12, used in higher education, legal proceedings, and all official state communication. We will also eliminate all remnants of colonialism and apartheid from cultural and political life. We therefore reject this budget. Thank you.
Thank you. The next honorable member will come the Freedom Front Plus, the Honorable T. Mariette.
Thank you, Chairperson, Deputy Chairperson. As I said in the policy debates, this is a critical department that shapes not only the minds, but the future of our children. This department has the responsibility to ensure that our children are prepared to enter the labor force or will be able to further their studies to become specialized contributors of our economy. The Minister and Deputy Minister have in a very short amount of time seemed to come to grips with what needs to be prioritized, and this is welcomed. Wat egter steeds 'n bron van kommer is, en ek moet beklemtoon, nie die besluit om die begroting te steun makliker maak nie, is dit Bella. Die VF+ is steeds bekommerd oor wat die Bella-wet vir ons skole inhou. Ons wil graag 'n beroep op die minister doen om toe te sien dat daar afgesien word van Bella. Die enkele wysigings wat hierdie huis in die vorige administrasie aan die wetsontwerp gebring het, was nie genoeg om ons te oortuig dat hierdie wet nie net nog 'n gejaag na gesentraliseerde magsbeheptheid is nie. Ja, daar is enkele artikels, soos die betogings by skole wat verbied word, wat goed is, maar in die algemeen is die wet problematies. Die VF+ is wel opgewonde oor beide die minister en die adjunkminister se prioriteitsverskywing na moedertaalonderrig. Dit is statisties bewys en het ek gedurende die debat die navorsing aangehaal. Kinders presteer nie net beter nie, maar dit hou verskeie voordele vir hul integrasie in die samelewing in en ook uiteindelik bevorder dit die behoud van ons gedeelde erfenis. Dit is onaanvaarbaar dat leerders in 2024 net in Afrikaans en Engels kan skool gaan. Ons het dan 12 amptelike tale. Alhoewel daar bronne tot kommer is ons bereid om 'n kans te waag op die nuwe minister en vir die redes hierbo genoem sal ons die begroting steun. En dankie.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Could I ask Honorable Mpongose to please switch off your microphone? Honorable Mpongose, switch off your microphone, please. Thank you. All right, the next honorable member is from the ANC, the Honorable M. Feni.
Honorable Chairperson, the ANC recognizing that quality and accessible education is essential for challenging socio-economic disparities and central towards the realization of a united, non-racial, non-sexist and prosperous society. We recognize that Vote Budget 16 is not merely a financial commitment to education, but is also an investment in our people and the collective future we share. We are not going to be complacent. The ANC is committed to building on the democratic gains achieved over the past 30 years and seeks to intensify the efforts to transform the education landscape to cater to the various educational needs of our people, to enable them to be empowered and active citizens who can positively contribute to the socio-economic development of our nation. Aligned with the priorities of the ANC, this budget is concerned with improving infrastructure, which all of us agree that there is a need of intervention at that level, which will see an expansion in the establishment of more schools, the building of more libraries, and the prioritization of learners' health and safety through adequate sanitation facilities. Furthermore, it is concerned with improving educational outcomes through continued investment in school nutrition programs, which feed millions of learners every day and consequently play a pivotal role in addressing the hunger and malnutrition crisis. We are encouraged by the commitments to the expansion and development of ECD centers, improving of literacy rate and training and placing of educators. Despite the misrepresentations of the Bella Bill in public discourse by populists, we remain resolved to its provisions, which seek to improve school governance and prioritize the creation of an equitable learning environment for all learners, particularly those from poor and disadvantaged backgrounds. Aligned with the developmental aspirations of our country as reflected in the Constitution, Children's Act and National Development Plan, the ANC envisages that Bella Bill will be instrumental in encouraging collaboration among stakeholders to build an inclusive educational landscape and a sustainable educational ecosystem, which therefore means, the Chairperson, that the ANC is fully supporting and behind this particular effort budget. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. The vote is agreed to, and the objections of the EFF and MK party are noted. Now go on to vote 17, higher education and training. I have been informed that the following parties would like to make declarations of votes in terms of Rule 78. I call upon the EFF, the Honorable Shirwa Mpongose.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. These are our propositions and how the Department of Higher Education should operate for maximal impact. As the EFF, we are committed to only providing solutions in this parliament, so there is no excuse on why these things are not being done for the benefit of our people. The department must introduce free decolonized education for all and advance issues of sovereignty, indigenous knowledge, economic freedom in our education system. It must increase utilization of information and communication technology and zero rate all educational apps and content on all gadgets by passing laws to support this position. The department must expand vocational training and education. What is currently on offer is unable to absorb over 200,000 of matriculant exits on an annual basis. The department has not responded to this crisis of our pupils exiting the basic education system and being left to wander in the streets with no education and no jobs. The department must cancel all student debt. It must reintegrate back into the system all the students who were financially excluded. The department must reintegrate all university dropouts back into the system and ensure that they complete their qualifications. The department must introduce an annual scholarship, including postgraduate scholarships that will take 10,000 students annually to go and study at the best universities in the world. It must take back hijacked buildings and dilapidated government structures and make accommodation sites for students in all of them. There must be a much more vigorous attempt at resolving the accommodation crisis of students than what you currently have to offer as a department, and you are hiding behind budget cuts is no longer feasible. You must insource all staff in all institutes of higher learning, and there is ample evidence in the universities that have considered to the intervention of the EFF Students Command that called for insourcing of cleaners and security guards, that insourcing is a viable financial intervention. The University of Pretoria will testify to this. The EFF provides sound direction when we assert that insourcing is preservation of dignity of workers and a viable financial management modus operandi. We have not done this because it threatens the entrepreneurship train of self-enrichment amongst the politically connected who give you kickbacks for acquiring tender to provide what the state should ordinarily provide for our people with ease. You must reopen all those nursing colleges and all those teaching colleges that you have closed under the ANC government. You must institute that all institutes of higher learning teach 50% of all their courses in a South African language besides English. You must make it a requirement that all institutes of higher learning should offer degrees and courses in coding, computer hardware development, artificial intelligence, robotics, the internet, and biotechnology. You must establish satellite campuses that will provide focus on mining, mineral beneficiation,
Honourable Member,
agriculture,
your
and
time has
agro-processing
expired.
and renewable energy. We reject the budget because you don't know that you
Thank
don't
you
have the
very much.
influence.
Your time
And I have to
has
show you
expired,
that
Honourable
these
Member.
issues of higher education can be resolved
Please take
if you
your seat,
apply yourself
Honourable
with
Member.
political will.
I'd like to request the Honourable Member to please observe the time limits. Thank you.
Chairperson.
Okay, switch off your microphone. Thank you. Now I call upon the MK party, the Honourable Z.N. Noble.
Honorable Chair, we as the MK Party hereby reject the proposed budgets for higher education, despite the critical importance of this sector. In higher education affordability, finally, would like to address the elephant in the room, the rising cost of higher education. We must make tertiary education more accessible and affordable for all, not just a privileged few. To claim our dignity as a people, we as MK will include a mandatory subjects into the education curriculum focusing on African history, values, ethics, and morals, with special attention to gender relations. We reject this budget. Thank you.
Thank you. The next Honourable Member from the Freedom Front Plus, the Honourable T. Briett.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. Unfortunately, the same arguments cannot be used for the budget of higher education as for basic education. This is in no way a reflection on the new minister, but rather on the legacy that currently torments this department. What is this legacy monster I am talking about? It is NSFAS, of course. NSFAS is soos hy tans bestuur word 'n totale mislukking. Dit is geen wonder, dit is weer vir die tweede keer in minder as 5 jaar onder administrasie nie. Dit help egter nie die departement se saak aan nie en is die hoofrede waarom ons nie die begroting kan steun nie. Die ideaal van NSFAS is edel. Uitvoering is egter waar die probleem intree. Belastingbetalers se geld word verkwansel sonder om studente werklik te ondersteun. Studente word keer op keer in die steek gelaat en as dit nie een ding is nie, is dit die volgende. In an article by, and excuse the pronunciation, Nobuhle Nkabane, NSFAS, the good, the bad, and the ugly, the following was said. Opportunism and greed have permeated NSFAS at both administrative and governance levels. The sacred responsibility to act in the best interest of the many has been superseded by the narrow and selfish interests of a few. The appointment of direct payment service providers, the so-called fintech companies, was neither necessary nor desirable. By virtue of the number of beneficiaries involved and the profile of families directly affected by NSFAS funding, when something goes wrong with the payments to students, institutions of higher learning, or auxiliary support service providers such as transportation and accommodation, the impact is merely not negligible. It is a very good article. You should all have a read. Die crux is dat sonder daadwerklike verandering gaan hierdie 'n bodemlose put raak waar diensverskaffers ryker word en die eindverbruiker, die student, gaan ly. My opregte beroep aan die nuwe minister en haar span is om die bil by die horings te pak en NSFAS reg te ruk. En dankie.
Thank you very much. I now call upon the ANC, the Honorable M.F. Mokwele.
Thanks very much, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. Up front, the African National Congress support the budget vote 17. A primary focus of the African National Congress in this administration is the realignment of curriculum responsive and PKM. The department has provided assurance to the committee regarding its intention to engage in collaborative efforts with industry, ensuring alignment of TVET curriculum with contemporary industry and sectoral requirements. This collaborative effort encompasses the updating of programs to encompass the needs of emerging sectors and the guarantee of relevance of the imparted skills to the current job market. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, the commitment and investment evident in the TVET sector exemplified by the allocation of funds to integrate alternative forms of education into South African education system, the expansion of training and technical artisan skills, the promotion of technical and vocational education and training as the primary career choice, the advocacy for teaching as a profession, and the reinforcement of oversight and collaboration with the private education demonstrate exceptional potential. This potential warrants further investment as it yields substantial positive advances in TVET sector and skills hope for more promising future. Honorable Deputy Chair, we express confidence in the turnaround strategy put forth by the Minister with regard to the NSFAS. The appointment of administrator tasked with enhancing communication and ensuring transparent reporting from the entity signifies a positive step in the right direction. The department acknowledged of the necessity of amendment of NSFAS Act, particularly in strengthening governance by addressing the remuneration and evaluation of board members, marks a significant advancement. This highlights the government dedication to facilitating the completion of studies for individuals facing financial expulsion due to societal factors. Honorable Chair, through expanding higher education, we create equal opportunity for the youth and tackle the high rate of youth who are not in the employment, education, or training. Honorable Chair, education is one weapon to address the high unemployment rate by equipping our youth with the skills to participate in the economy. That is why, as the African National Congress, we are still saying that we are supporting this budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The vote is agreed to. The objections of the EFF, Freedom Front Plus, and MK Party are noted.